Good morning. Good morning. It is 5:37 a.m. We're it's June 10th. Holy cow. Holy mackerel. We're rolling through the year. We're excited about it. Man, I am extra tired today. But, they turns out they don't really give a shit if you're tired or not. Comes to try and develop things that that are beyond you a little bit, that you care about. Trying to make sure to get more adequate rest, going to bed earlier in the evening, checking in with the core five. Your the core five, the pillars of personal development, as we like to call in our coaching. It's a good gauge. If you're ever tired, you're not feeling good, you always go back to how's my sleeping been lately? Have I been going to bed too late? Am I not getting up early enough? Sleeping, breathing. Am I ever taking the time to slow down, pause, try and give my heart a little bit of a break, my mind a little bit of a break, breathing in, making sure my body's getting proper oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide, relaxing myself. A lot of times we can stress ourselves out just from driving, missing one turn, and just short, choppy breaths for a half hour while sitting in traffic. And they're like, why am I so stressed out? Oxygen being the balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide being one of the, if not the most important thing. I mean, look at when you don't breathe for just a couple minutes, what starts happening in the body, things shutting down. So, number one, sleeping. Number two, breathing. Number three, eating. I read in a book, and damn it, I can't remember who wrote this, but they were talking about a wise man watches what comes out of his mouth, but a wiser man knows exactly what goes in. So, talking about consumption, talking about what you're eating is totally controls how you feel, and how you feel controls your emotions, and your emotions controlling your thoughts, kind of like that little feel, emotion, thought, action train that we talk about on the show quite frequently. But eating being a huge piece of it. Whether, I mean, eating, drinking, kind of in that little passage, it's the same. But just to reiterate, a wise man watches what he says, but a wiser man knows exactly, or dang it, it's so early. I'm sorry, my brain. How does that go? A wise man watches what he says, but a wiser man knows exactly. Oh, it's something out and then in. Gosh dang it. Can't remember word for word. Anyway, point being, what we're trying to get at, it's also very important to understand what you're eating, along the lines of a lot of people think it's wise when you just watch what you do when you speak, but very, very important on your actions, leading by example and watching out for the foods that you consume. Okay, so sleeping, breathing, eating, exercising. Number four, exercising, movement. Movement is energy, movement is life. Move it or lose it. And that incredible thing that our physical health tends to be one of those things that it's just so easy to take for granted. Whether it's your ability to use both your hands to pick things up and to touch them, to be able to see, Could you imagine if you couldn't see? Or what are some other physical things that we can take for granted? Well, understanding our regiments and understanding when we're not feeling good. That maybe it could be as simple as coming back to, what is my regiment? Is it consistent? Am I pushing myself? Does it feel like I'm accomplishing much? And then lastly, the last one that's toughest for most everyone in their particular situation, especially in the United States, it's indulgences in substances and going to sobriety. Sobriety meaning if you do not feel good, it is probably a good idea to not drink, to not smoke, to not consume anything that falls along the lines of essentially alcohol, nicotine, marijuana, any type of drug. If we're not feeling good, and it's not that we can't have these things, it's just understanding that there's a trade-off to life. You don't just get to get the buzz and then have no con to it, you know, or along lines with alcohol, marijuana, specifically affecting our ability to fall into a deeper sleep, thus causing us to be a little more tired for the day. Well, I want to start it off with just the 5 core things. Check in with these things if you're not feeling good. And by no means are they ever going to be perfect. Perfection is not reality, and that's okay. And making sure that we're comparing ourselves to ourselves from yesterday, maybe a week before, and kind of see how far we have come with these things. So let's kind of get these into the chat real quick. Sleeping. Number 2, breathing, knowing sure that we have a good breathing regimen. We're trying it. People aren't even willing to try it. And it's the most important thing coming in and out of your body is the damn oxygen. It's like you can't sit there for 1 minute. For 1 minute this morning, today, some point with your friends. Sit down, relax, and breathe. And always remember, inhale through the nose. Exhaling doesn't matter as much whether it comes out of your nose or your mouth, whatever you're more comfortable with. I've found it that it's easier for me to slow my heart rate if I focus on a longer exhale through my mouth. Tip for that. Number 3, eating. Number 4, continuing to come back and check in on it. Exercise. And number 5, oh, the one no one wants to hear. Sobriety, being sober will make you feel better. I guarantee it. But if you're comfortable with where you're at with your indulgences, and like even as I say that, I'm going to drink alcohol tonight. I'm probably going to smoke some type of pot today. Does that mean is that good? Is that good for me? Is that bad? I think I'm at peace with my balance with these things and have a good enough awareness that if I'm living in Denver, Colorado at the moment, that I can go out, have some beers and indulge a little bit. Or we're actually golfing with some friends here shortly. So we're going to have a good time. And it's but the general awareness of that is still very, very important. Just checking back where you're in. Okay, yesterday we talked about some questions that I went over and I put into the chat, and I went ahead and answered some of these questions myself. So just a reiterance of where you were with something, how far you've come, and how it's okay to be proud of yourself. I think we live in this it's coming down to this, like you have to be broken to be acknowledged. You have to, like, there has to be like pain to have attention or something along those lines. Or this is at least what it appears to be, but it is far from the truth. Something that we can do for ourselves is, again, to compare where we have started with something. Maybe this is your career. Start out, think back of when you were starting in college and you were in the education process. Now you've gone through lots of ups and downs of experiences, and now kind of where you're at with your skill base today. If we're focusing on that, that gain part of it, it feels pretty good. And it's kind of motivating, and it's kind of easy to focus on ourselves, to compare only with ourselves, because then we don't want to compare with other people. So what would be an example of comparison with another person? Well, maybe you've had a classmate who got straight A's on all their tests. They didn't even study. You're studying your ass off and you got a C. And you're focused on their performance. You're focused on what their capabilities were. That's going to be the gap, because the ideal would be to get an A and you got a C, and you're focused on that gap between the C and the A. Or vice versa, in your career, you and some college buddies, you go off into prospective fields. Some of them are making $100,000 a year already, and I'm not making 100 grand yet. And you're thinking, well, shit, am I doing something wrong? I'm getting up at 5 in the morning every single weekday and coming on here willing to put myself out and talk about this as deep emotional stuff that I've never been good with in the past, but I'm learning to evolve and grow from it. It's like, dang it, the effort's there. I'm doing it. But if I'm focused on the money that some of my friends are making, and I'm not focused on where I started and where I'm at now, then there's going to be that gap. If I'm focused on my friends and what they're doing, and I think I should be there right now, if you are focused on there and not here, then you'll feel pain, and it will be, oh man, pain, negative emotion, really everything along those lines that falls into the gap, versus the gain of, like, holy cow, I've started 2 companies and they've already made money. Like, not a ton, but they're not in the red. And it's like, that's great. That's good. We're about only a little over a year into it. It's like, hey, a lot of those fall out and blow up and sink the ship. So it's like, all right, well, learning a lot, trying very hard, and finding these other outlets such as this morning show to get up, to get focused on it, something derived and directive. I'm guessing what I'm saying is making sure that we're not too hard on ourselves. The number one rule: treating yourself with kindness and goodness and forgiveness, acceptance. It's okay. It's okay. And here are a few questions, maybe to gain a little bit of perspective. Number one, where am I right now? That was our first question yesterday. Where am I right now? It's like, I'm in beautiful Denver, Colorado, with the love of my life. I'm going to go get my ass kicked in golf here shortly on a course that sits right in front of the mountains. Life is good. And just pulling back and saying, where am I right now? What is going on? Looking for the good in it. Is there people around you? Is there nice hot coffee in front of you? Do you have an amazing computer that you're able to work on anywhere, wherever you go? Is it your cell phone that gives you the ability to scroll and look at whatever you please, research stuff, make phone calls, the computer and phone in one? Where asking yourself, where am I right now? Next year, what are my wins for the last 90 days to gain some perspective on how far you've come? So asking yourself, where are your wins for the last 90 days, 3 months? What good things have you done? What fun things have you accomplished? What's picking up? What's going well? Focusing on what's going good. I bought a house, bought a rental property. That's cool. I started a partnership. I got 3 new coaching clients. We definitely want to get that number up. But that'd be focusing on the gap. Because my goal was like 10 and I got 3. And if I'm focused on that 7 that I don't have, then I feel like shit. I feel like a loser, like I'm not good enough. But if I focus on the 3 that I've gotten and I'm rereading the notes from our coaching sessions, I'm learning and growing from that, it's hard not to feel good. I'm in my 20s, doing my coaching thing, helping people, inspiring them, creating better versions of themselves. That shit feels good, even if it's just with 3 new people in the last 90 days. What are my desired wins for the next 90 days? So we've gotten to we give a good look at what we've really actually done. And take time to write out like 10 things or as much as you can think of. Make it a fun journaling exercise. What are my wins over the last 90 days? Jot out as much as you can. Think about all the good things that are going on in your life. And then over the next 90 days, what do you want to do? What do you want? How do you want to go about it? Do you want certain people in your life? Do you want, for example, one of my wins would be buying another rental property. Next would be putting a new property manager in place. I need a new one. Putting the systems in to help with that. Getting 5 new coaching clients from my coaching company. These would be desired wins. And also, something I didn't mention in my desired wins over the last 90 days is just personal awareness and forgiveness of I don't know 100% who I am yet. There's this coaching question in a lot. It's like, who are you? And I'm not a huge fan of it because there's really no words to describe it. So just overall awareness in the last 90 days, and I'm excited to continue to improve upon that. Awareness about what's important, awareness about feeling, focusing on living in the moment, those types of things. So I added that to my desired win list for the next 90 days is to be more focused on the present moment, to feel, to enjoy, to focus, and give my full attention to the people I care most about. Where will I be in the next 12 months? Where will I be in a year? Where will I be in a year? My biggest thing I desire and where I see myself is transitioning from this TV show and using the skills of looking up so many things to talk about, reading an ass load of books to try and come down with the right consensus and information to be able to give speeches for people to try and resonate and have them sit in their seat as we do with this show. Like you can look at my examples, listen to my examples, but on the other end of it, it is completely up to you to take responsibility and shuffle it around for your own gain. So think in your own seat. Okay, what is this dude saying? I have these questions. Where will I be in the next 12 months? What do I want? How do I want to go about it? What do I want included in it? And just keep writing that out. What do I want? Because we need at least enough clarity and awareness to get it on a piece of paper to give ourselves a much better chance at finding it, reaching it, and attaining it. So giving a speech, a public speech, over the next 12 months, see myself at a seminar, see myself evolving and putting enough people in place for my rental properties that I don't really have to go to them anymore. Where will I be in the next 3 years? Much farther down the road. 3 years out, thinking that far down the road. Other day, we introduced the principle of living in the moment, living today, but planning over the next decade. And putting a lot more thought into the next 3 years. Possibly buying a second home, maybe in Denver, Florida. I like Jacksonville a lot. Growing the business to having 5 employees, 4 other coaches who will work under the coaching company full time, and having 100 units in real estate. Some big goals, some big aspirations. But I'm at peace with what I have today. And I'm excited about what's possible for tomorrow. Again, I am at peace with what I have here right now, today. And I am also excited for what is possible to grow into, to gain tomorrow. If we can find a good balance with that, because I promise you already have everything you need to say be happy, to feel enough, to be good enough, to understand all of the growth and the gain that you've had so far. So feel free to reverse, go back and check over these questions. They're also in day 66's show. Where are you at right now? What are my wins for the last 90 days? What are my desired wins for the next 90 days? Where will I be in 12 months? Where will I be in 3 years? Make sure we have that level of awareness of what's been going on, because we could be fucking up on something over and over and over again. We want to try to avoid that. Or maybe we just need to give ourselves a pat on the back for once. You're doing great. Come on. What are we really focusing on here? And then maybe we need a plan to focus on what we want. What do we figure out what is it that we want in the future? What does that look like? Who's involved? And if you need help diving a little deeper into these types of topics, not kicking the crap out of yourself, understanding the good things that have come over the last 3 months, the last year, over the experiences of your life, and putting down and getting asked the right questions of what it is that you want moving forward in your future. And what do you think it's going to take to actually attain that? Here over at talktotaryn.com, we can always give you a little more clarity, and you can always sign up for a free coaching session at talktotaryn.com, as you see in the corner of our TV show with the number 2 in between Talk and Tanner. If you know anyone who could benefit from a coaching session, who just needs someone to listen, needs to put out on paper what's been going on, where do they want to go, and if they really want to improve the relationship with themselves, I'm here to help in any way I can. Thank you all so much. It is 6:02. We're over past the hour. We got to get going. We got to get rolling. And I will bid you all farewell and a fair due, as I will be seeing you not over the weekend, but on Monday, bright and early, Monday morning, 5:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We'll be getting back at it, back on the horse after a fun, enjoyable weekend, productive one as well, as we chip away, get things done, and keep improving. Have a great day, everyone. Make sure to smile, make sure to enjoy, and look at what we've all accomplished and come and what's possible going forward. I'm at peace with what I have now, and I'm excited for what is to come tomorrow. Until next time. Bye, y'all.